Welcome to Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact. Each episode will cover legacy, hope, Black joy, funding sources, cultural shifts, equality, and so much more. We will provide inspiration and action while spreading some joy to a thriving community of Black business owners and leading thought leaders.
I am Fola Lawson, your host and the founder of the L3 Agency.
Known as the brand maven who transforms organizations with her storytelling prowess, meet Larvetta L. Lofton, host of Black Businesses Matter, a podcast about why Black businesses matter and the benefits of collaborating and advocating for Black businesses to drive impact.
Hey, y'all. Welcome back. You know that we are in season 5. We took a little break, guys, but we are super excited and overjoyed about all of the new guests that we have lined up for season 5. I promise you all, it's going to be hot like fire for real. Because we're talking about wellness. We're talking really about Black wellness. And if you've been tuning in and rocking with us as long as you have, because we are now over a year, we hit our 50th episode a few months ago. And I just say I'm just overjoyed by the feedback that many of you all share with us, the ratings, the reviews. So I just want to say thank you. And if you could see my face, I've got a big smile and a heart for all of you all. And so season 5 is going to be near and dear for me because I think that it is important for us to talk about wellness and Black wellness. We hear so much going on in our communities, but there are some Black business owners that are giving us wellness at such a high level. And so our next guest, now, I want you all to really bear with us because our next guest, and I feel like I want to ring the bell because when we have businesses that we just haven't seen, I just want to ring the bell. Like the Wall Street, I just want to ring a bell and be like, oh my gosh, we have like this creator, and I want to tell you guys a little bit about who he is, and he's going to give you some background on him because you're going to be so intrigued by his background. But Fola Lawson is the co-founder and creative director of Southern Gents. I'm just going to let you guys sit there, Southern Gents. Because when I heard the name, I was like, oh my gosh, for those of us who love the Southern flair, the Southern pizzazz, I lived in Atlanta for a short time, so I love the South for all of that. But this gentleman has background in corporate finance and accounting and has always had an eye for design and photography. So he channeled that in a menswear line. And so he has impeccable styles, you all, from GQ to Esquire. I mean, his menswear line is dope. It is a staple brand. They serve over 30,000 customers and is in over 25 countries, and they're still counting. So if he's not in your city, he's definitely online. And I am super excited to have him on the show. I learned about him somehow online, and I said, hey, let's get him, let's secure him for the podcast for season 5. And you all, he's here in the building. He's in H-Town, guys. He's in H-Town, so we still love him. But welcome to the show, Folo.
Thank you so much for having me, Katori. It's a pleasure.
Yes, and Katori, so he said Katori. Katori is our associate producer. I'm Larvetta.
I'm sorry.
But I just want y'all to know.
I'm sorry.
That's okay, Folo, because here's the thing. It's okay because the reality of it all is I need the world to know it takes a team, right? You said you have a team. We all have a team. So still give some shout out to my associate producer.
Yes, and she's been wonderful. I've been speaking with her for 2-3 weeks now, so it's the first name that came to mind. But thank you so much for having me on the show. It's definitely a pleasure. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. I need to get you on my PR team for sure.
Well, first of all, I got on the call and I just started off with first, tell me your first name, how to pronounce it, but just because I'm a former journalist, I want to make sure I got it. But then I asked him, what is his name? Because I knew in my mind, I was like, that's not his full name. And he told me. So please tell us, who is who are you? Like, I want to know you as a little person, like at 5 years old. Who are you? And I want you to give our listeners your full name and the origin behind it.
Okay. So let's start with my full name. My full name is Fola. That's exactly how you would say it in Yoruba, which is a tribe in Nigeria, a very popular tribe, one of the main tribes in Nigeria. So as a little boy, I remember always being just super filled with joy and wanting to be creative. I always wanted to be outdoor and play with my friends. And, I was a huge fan of soccer playing up. So I also used to draw a lot. I would draw comic books and, anything artistic has always spoken to me. As I grew up, I started collecting magazines, not even just men's magazines, just Vogue magazines. And I would put them all over the wall in my room, plaster and make this little collage. I don't know if you've ever heard of this. I don't know if you've ever seen anybody do it, but it was kind of like, teens put posters in their wall. I would just take the
Yes.
magazine
Okay.
pictures and the cars and the colognes and whatever resort they were showing. It just painted a beautiful lifestyle at such a young age. And now that I think back on it, it's probably where this journey all started to me. Photography and design has always spoken to my soul. And it's just something that makes me feel inspired and makes me want to be the best version of myself.
That's awesome. And so taking design, right? All of this, and I mean, like just you telling me as a little boy, just kind of what you did, and then built this amazing menswear line. How did you go from kind of design photography into designing your own menswear line?
That's a great question. It definitely wasn't intentional. I would say it was accidental. Um, the idea really came about after I graduated college. I was kind of bored because, I got a job. I was working now. I wasn't living paycheck to paycheck necessarily anymore. Bank account and being in overdraft all the time as a college student. So I was looking to do more fun things like after work. Okay, where do you hang out now? What do you do? Just got out of the office. Where is everybody at? Wanting to meet other professionals. And so I had this crazy idea to just host a networking mixer and just put a lot of people who had worked really hard and basically were looking to meet other people because the scene when you go out in nightlife is very different. It could be standoffish, people are not really speaking with each other, everyone is just more concerned about how they're being perceived. And I thought, well, if we could have kind of a happy hour party, which my friends and I would go just in our groups of fives, groups of six, and we'd hang out and we'd have a great time. So my idea was, well, how can we make this bigger? How can we share whatever we do when we go to raw sushi or whatever bar was in our neighborhood? How can we just spread the word, have everyone tell someone else? And so we did that. We had one event, we pitched. We also wanted to make it super interesting. So we didn't want to do it at any random place. So we pitched a couple of hotels downtown Houston. And as luck would have you, one of them said yes. I believe it was called the Sam Houston Hotel. I had a friend who was a DJ, still is a DJ, and he offered to DJ the event for free. So we created a Facebook group, added about 20 people. 20 people added, I don't know, 3 to 5 people each. And before you knew it, we had this wonderful room of working professionals and everyone was mixing, mingling. And first it was, where the ladies at? And then the ladies showed up in droves and everybody was like, where are the men at? And so we kept doing these events. And it's interesting because we tried to do an event that was focused on men and just like menswear, because obviously we called the group Southern Gents and men would show up. But what we learned is that women were actually had a higher appetite to meet these men. We were just thinking, let's just do something a little bit classy, a group of young Black men. And once the ladies started showing up, all the guys got in line. Everyone was trying to come after hour. People were trying to bring their friends. It was becoming the talk of the town. We would take pictures and then post pictures after the event and share them on Facebook and tag. If I knew 20 people, I would tag those 20 people. And I'm sure, as you all are familiar, you see tag photos of your friends and you're looking and you're like, where was this at? I didn't know about this event. And so that was the beginning and the birth of Southern Gents. And we had one event and life was almost never the same.
Wow. I am, so you took, right, what I think and turned into something that you love, lifestyle, and said, hey, let's come together. And then the idea of menswear, you started to see the men. Like, was that something where you were looking at the men like, were you giving tips? Oh, like, were you like, hey, you should add these shoes? Like, was that kind of your thing?
So I was kind of ahead of the pack when it came to style because um, I've always tried to figure out how I could have like an edge, if you would. So in the office, I'm this younger guy and I'm in public accounting and in public accounting, you go to client's office, you work for a firm and you basically get dispatched like just like a consultant, but you come in teams
Mhm.
and you don't arrive at the same time. So if I'm working with 3 or 4 gentlemen, um, I'm the only one showing up sometimes. I'm showing up to someone's random business. And so I quickly understood that how I was perceived was important. So I was trying to get my style game up. I had all these episodes of or should I say issues of GQ. So I knew I was learning a lot about style and I saw that the average guy didn't really have like that information. So with the events, we created a blog where we would write about style and how to pick the proper dress shirt, how to tie a tie or a bow tie. We were even doing like mini tutorials at the events, teaching guys how to tie ties, how to tie a bow tie. Because a lot of times in the office environment, guys would just throw on a blazer and you'd be surprised how many grown men can't tie a tie or a bow tie. So we were given tips, and then once we started doing the events for long enough, we knew that we didn't want to get into the entertainment space. So our idea at the time was, well, maybe we could create accessories that these men would love, or women, and women would buy for their men, because as you know, women normally shop for their men. And so when we came out with a line of accessories, and we started doing pop-up at the event because we already had the audience, we already had the foot traffic, and just letting people see what we had to offer, and people loved the items. And so we created an online store and started trying to take photographs of how to wear this bow tie or how to wear this lapel pin. And that's kind of how it all started. So it started with just having a social gathering of like-minded folks, and then we graduated into offering a product um, to this group of wonderfully dressed men.
So tell me this, fellow, just based on Southern Gent. So you took what was like a lifestyle social brand and let it evolve into now a menswear line that, so what was that process like? Did you feel like you needed to change the name? Did you feel like, people weren't going to get it? Like, tell me that thought, because your logo says a timeless classic made for life. And I love it because it allows for you to evolve. It doesn't lock you in. And I wanted to find out from you, was that intentional?
Larvetta, you asked some great questions. These are all things that we definitely thought about. So let me start with the need and the why. So I started trying to understand, why is it that men weren't taking as much pride in their image or their appearance. And there are a couple of reasons that I came up with. The first was, sometimes it's just too intimidating, or the imagery that's presented by mainstream media is off-putting. Like, I don't look like that. It's not going to look good on me. that was one issue. The second issue was price and accessibility. So a lot of times, in order to dress well, and this is back, we started this back in 2011. We officially formed the brand and got our LLC and everything in 2012, but we were already in the works in 2011. And this is before social media. So it's sometimes hard for people to, even for myself, to go back and think of a world pre-social media, but it did exist, believe it or not. So people really didn't have this information at their fingertips and knowing where to shop. At the time, there was no H&M or Zara in Houston. So what we were trying to do is figure it out how we can motivate and inspire other men to dress better. And that came with, we were just figuring out what the problems were. And as we thought about the problem, we started thinking, hey, why don't we just offer the solution? Because part of the solution to the problem, we can't help other men fix. We have the same problem too, not having places to buy accessible uh, articles of clothing like a men's coat. I think at the time, if you wanted to have a nice camel coat, you would have to spend something like $9.95 at J. Crew or some fancy brand. So it was a very, very different time. So just trying to solve this problem for men along the way. And then when it comes to the naming, Southern Gents was a great name as we through these networking events, but there's certainly been a lot of thought over the years of whether we should change the name, because for some it's sometimes misleading. People think it's this tight group, but like we get emails sometimes or DMs of, man, I want to join a group. How can I join? Like, this is not a fraternity. So we decided to keep the name because of just what the name means, even though it can feel uh, like a group. When you think about it, so are other brands. When you think of a brand like Brooks Brothers, who's a Brooks brother, but they make good product. And so we felt that Southern Gents was an even stronger name, simply because everyone can relate to the aspect of Southern hospitality. We all know what that means. And so with that, it doesn't really matter where you're from. What the brand name means and stands for is embodying the character of a Southern gent. And what that means is someone who takes pride in themselves, someone who moves as a leader and lives their life intentionally. And once you do all those things, once you take care of yourself, now you have more room and more bandwidth to take care of other people, to lead other people, to inspire other people. So this journey of manliness and manhood, in our perspective, all starts with self. You have to be selfish and you have to be self-righteous. And that's what everything Southern Gent is. We tell people often, we don't sell clothes, we sell emotion and aspiration. We're selling a way of life. So for us, Southern Gents is all about being the best version of your possible self. And if we can package an item and ship that item to a customer in Georgia, in Arkansas, in Idaho, in New York, and that product be a means to change someone's life, because once they put that item on their back, they start feeling different. They start wanting to speak different. They start wanting to attend workshops. It's very hard for you to be well dressed and then not take care of yourself. Like, even for as a man, if you have on a nice blazer or a nice pair of shoes, you don't want to get in a fight. You don't want anybody scuffing you up, roughing you up, none of that. Your whole mindset changes. So for us, this is more of a mental and spiritual journey. And it's been a wonderful accidental discovery, because we're able to create a business uh, and make a way of life doing something that not only do we love, but we really believe can impact the culture in a positive way and inspire others to do better. So there's a huge communal aspect to our business.
And when I tell you I love this, like I love it, because what you said it, like Brooks Brothers, like it doesn't have to, it can create this, you guys are really creating an experience. You're also creating impact, right? It's just menswear is one of your products, right? I'm sure over
Right.
time you're going to evolve into other things, right? I could feel it just because you gave room for growth, right? And I love that you were intentional about that. And I think it's because think about it as a young Black man, right? Um, as a young Black man, how difficult is it now today, right? We are very urban, we're very business casual. You know, life has changed. How has that impacted the business positively? And maybe negatively because everyone is in now. For the ladies, we wearing sneakers now. I didn't wear sneakers before. But how do you see that evolving for you in the business?
So for you, you're speaking from a how style and lifestyle has evolved in the marketplace,
Yes.
right? So for instance, like pre-COVID, things were a little bit more tight and professional, and then since COVID, a lot of businesses have moved to either a business casual or a casual. Is that? I just want to make sure that that's exactly what you're referring to.
Yes, that is what I'm referring to.
Okay,
Yes,
great.
yes,
Another
yes.
great question. I think that it's all about time and place, and I'll get back to that. But I will say, for us, we're a lifestyle business, so we think about we start with ourselves. So I'm the consumer first. Before I can put anything out and ask anyone to spend their hard earned money on it, I have to love it, and there has to be a reason why I love it. And for me, whenever I'm thinking about buying anything, whether it's a product or a service, it's all about functionality. So if I'm going to pick up a pair of sneakers, if I'm going to pick up a jacket, if I'm going to pick up, because we don't make up everything, I still shop, I still buy other items, headphones, whatever it is. How can I use this product? What am I doing most of the time? And I think that to your point, especially with social media, this is something that um, a lot of customers have to start thinking about more, because I think sometimes we overindulge in the 20% and not spend enough time on the 80%. And so what I mean by that is, what are you doing most of the week? You're working, or you're doing, even if you're an entrepreneur or you seeing clients, what are you doing? And so your closet should really reflect that, because it doesn't make sense for you to have a bunch of items that you only get to wear 1 or 2 days out the week. So I'll start with that. And then the second thing is, when I say we're a lifestyle business, we're thinking about where the customer is going. So if the customer is going to work more often than not, then we also want our products to reflect what the customer needs to do. And then there's also weekend and casual wear, and that's kind of how it goes. And I think it's a conversation really of time and place that's getting lost a lot with social media, because a lot of the content that you'll see on social media is usually revolves around play. Rarely do I see content that revolves around looking your best, trying to get that raise, trying to dress up for an interview, going to a workshop. What should you wear? I'm not really seeing that type of information. And I work with some athletes as well within the business who, whether we're styling for their game day or professional workshops, and it's a very interesting conversation. And that's where I start with trying to get them to understand time and place. Like I'll have an NFL player be invited to maybe a broadcast room or an analyst segment, and they want to wear sneakers, and I'm trying to educate them, and like you get to wear sneakers every day of the week. This is the time that you go get out that double-breasted suit, that you pull out your tie, because you want to make the best impression. And you're going in a room of people who don't look like you, who know nothing about you, who may have a preconceived notion about you. So it's up to you to take the first step and help other people create your narrative, because you're seen before you're heard. And so a lot of times we egotistically think that, oh, once they hear me talk or once they see me do my thing, then it's not going to matter. But the reality we have to accept is sometimes you're just not going to get that opportunity.
That is so, because that was going to be my next question. I'm sure you work with athletes. I was going to ask that question. So you certainly answered that along the way. And I think it's important when you said you can wear sneakers, you wear sneakers every day. Like, I think it's the idea of showing your best. And because here's the thing, we never get the first impressions on the second day, right? The first impressions is the first.
Right.
Like, there's no more
Exactly.
after that, So showing up And giving them that is so important, because by the time you have the second date, they form their thoughts. And I love that you say, that they see, that's what they see. And it's so important. And I love that you're representing a movement.
I'll I'll even go
That
further and use myself as an example, right? Because this is a very sensitive topic in the community. So I have tattoos. I have a sleeve tattoo on one arm, and for years I've worked in a corporate environment. Now I was good at my job, and I knew that everyone around me was comfortable, but I would always go in the office with a long sleeve shirt or a blazer just because I'm someone in middle management. I don't know who's going to come to the office. I don't know if a banker is going to show up. I don't know if my boss is randomly going to ask us to go visit a vendor. And so we have to do our best to not shoot ourselves in the foot, because it's very easy for you to start creating an image that you're not even aware of that you're creating, and that limit your opportunity. Now, if I'm going to happy hour with my workers who I work with every day, then I can do whatever I want. So I think it's a conversation of helping people understand time and place. And I think a lot of people just don't think about this stuff. And this is where there's a sweet spot, because now I think for any business, there's tons of room for education, because life is all about need and self improvement. So putting out positive information to educate your customer, whatever it is, if you're a nutritionist, if you're a trainer, of why they need to do why they need to indulge in whatever product or service you're providing, because a lot of times people just don't know, and we can't fault them for that. No, a lot of times people have never been told within their office or workforce, like, hey, you need to dress better. Hey, you need to iron your shirt. Hey, you this is a very sensitive one, like hygiene, personal hygiene. But what often happens is it limits people, that you get laid off or you don't get the right opportunity when there's big meetings happening. You just don't get invited. And so this is something that I'm glad you asked about, because when we think style, we really have to think lifestyle. And I always go by an 80-20 rule. Whenever one of my friends asks me for style advice, whether it's something to buy, that I don't have an answer for you, because my answer is always going to differ on what your 80 to 20 is, and also how you want to be perceived. And some people already have a lot of money in the bank. They don't care. They're not looking for any other opportunities. So it all depends on where you are in life and where exactly you are trying to go. I hope that answers
I
it for
oh,
you.
yes, it does. Because I started off and I said we're talking about wellness, right? And I feel like, this, when it comes to our culture, people will say, we dress well, right?
Yes.
We are style icons, but I don't think that we understand. And you started off by saying how we show up is how we feel about ourselves, but we haven't. It's almost as if us being stylish is almost bad, if that makes sense. Like, oh, because they're so stylish. No, that's actually a good thing. That's part of our wellness. I want to know how does wellness play a part in style for you as this, style icon who's built this style icon menswear brand.
I think it plays a huge part. I think it's the number one indicator to know if someone is going through something, right? Like that's the first thing we say. Like we see someone and they don't look how we're used to seeing them. What's the first thing we say? Is everything okay? Are you all right? Because we know if you have a friend who, maybe let's take the dressing out of it. They're usually like uh working out, like they're very active and they have a active lifestyle, or maybe they don't have an active lifestyle and you're just used to seeing them a certain way, and then you see them and all of a sudden you see them 2 weeks and it looks like they lost 20 pounds. Your first thing is going to be, are you okay? Are you going through something? So appearance period is how we try to assess how someone else is doing in life. Not saying that if you have these fancy brands on and if you look like money, then you smell like money and everything's great. But it's the little things, right? Is it um what kind of shoes are they wearing? Did they even try? Did they look like they just rolled out of bed? You can quickly tell how someone is feeling from how they present themselves. And on the other side, there's people who are really good with covering that up, who everything looks glossy on the outside and they're well dressed, they're well put together, but they're really struggling. So it can be really hard to decipher, but I will say that on average, when people are thriving in their lives, they usually end up taking really, really good care of themselves. They're wearing some article of clothing that they really, really like. I love to say that clothing is the most essential and practical way for the everyday person to implement some form of creativity in their lives. So a lot of times you get up throughout the day, you got to be at work at a certain time. You get on the road, you got to drive the speed limit. You have to go to lunch at a certain time. There's not really that many elements of our lives that we get to control. How we look, no one almost to some extent can tell us what shirt to wear, what color to wear. So that's something that everyone can have a little fun in, right? And so I think that when it comes to wellness, practicing and having a good sense of style is uh, a great way to improve your mental wellness, because y'all have heard this saying before: if you look good, you feel good. You feel good, you play good. So it's all goes hand in hand. You got to be. Life is tough. Life is tough, and if you get up in the morning or the night before, I like to do it the night before. You put your clothes to the side, you iron your dress trouser or your jeans, your t-shirt, polo, whatever you're wearing. If you make sure it's clean, tidy, and put together, that to me is an aspect of getting ready for war, getting ready for battle. And so when the next day comes around, you already know you've controlled what you can control, and you could jump right out of bed. You know what you're wearing, you know how you're going to present yourself to the world, and you're just ready to go, as opposed to just waking up and just throwing some random stuff on. Because subconsciously, what that starts to feel like is that you're letting life happen to you, as opposed to taking control of your life.
That's good. Man, I could talk literally all day with you because that's what happens when I do the show. I'm always like, oh my gosh, that is so good. So, listeners, I just, before we wrap up, guys, I just want you all to just check out this dope menswear. I mean, ladies, we can certainly get some things for the men in our lives, the brothers, the cousins, you name it. So please tell them how they can connect with you and connect to the store, the online store.
Okay, awesome. You can find us at S_GENTS. So that's S_gents on all social media platforms. That's Instagram, Pinterest, and YouTube, and also Facebook. And then if you're looking to check out our collection and what we have to offer, you can find us at www.s-gentsagain.com. So s-gents.com. Y'all don't feel the pressure to shop, but just come learn. Come check out what we have to offer. We put out weekly style newsletters. We put out YouTube videos periodically. We just want everybody to get a dose of their best self. And once you start taking pride in your appearance, I promise you, life will never be the same. Everything seems to just flow subconsciously when you take care of your physical.
Oh my gosh, Fola, let me say this. So, guys, please go to their website because, like, I'm on it and I'm inspired. Like, it's just dope content and very thoughtful in how they show up for, Black men, and men in general. They have other men of color here represented. And I think it's important because when we see the things that are happening in our country, right, we see all of the racial inequity. But when you come here, you see Black pride, you see Black excellence, you see it. And that's why I wanted him here. So I just want you all to know that just take a peek. The moment where you believe that, we're not being represented as in our culture with our Black men, check this out. Just go here and do like, okay, we good. Just do a check-in. We good. We good. Because that's how dope
I,
you are, literally. Seriously.
I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. And the last thing I wanted to add to exactly what you just said is yes, we do. We're very serious about Black excellence. We take that seriously, and also unity as well. And that's another great thing about just taking pride in our appearance is that whether you're a man or a woman, life is about unity. And when you put yourself together, it doesn't matter if someone is black, white, red, Asian, green, whatever. You're going to start a conversation. People will want to get to know you. People want to work with you. People want to keep you in their network. And as Black men and women, that's really the life that we
Yeah.
deserve.
Yeah, I totally, and I think it's just, I mean, it's just dope. And when I saw it, I was just like, I felt like it was like, this is what the world's been waiting for. That's how I felt, literally. Like, this is what the world
Wow.
has been waiting for. And we don't have enough. And you know this when you think about, what limited men, they try to do. I mean, everyone's tried it, right? Everyone's tried it, but everyone hasn't successfully done it. But you have. So what I want to do as we close, I hate that we close, but we could go on for hours in this space. But I want to ask you, why do Black businesses matter?
Whoa, I didn't know if we'll get the wonderful opportunity to talk about business. That's one of my favorite topics in the world. Excited to answer that question. Um, just taking a moment to gather my thoughts because I have so much to say on that topic, and I could really go on forever.
That's okay. I love that. That
The
that that actually
the
makes me
first
happy because we want people to know that Black businesses matter. So please go forth.
I have a lot of answers, but the first thing that comes to my mind right now, because Black businesses matter, because for so long we've been taught that we're no good, we're inferior, we're second, third, fourth, or fifth class, three-fifths of a human. Um, we're just society's reject. In everywhere you go in the world, it's tough to be Black, and I know that we all feel that. It's hard for people to get up every day and find the strength and courage to go to work, to do their best. Um, Meanwhile, dealing with instances of microaggression, discrimination, prejudice, racism. Black businesses matter because in business, you get to make a difference and we get to prove the world wrong. We get to show otherwise. We get to defy stereotypes and let people know that everything that whoever thinks we aren't. And it's hard to do that as an individual. But as a business, with your customers, with your vendors, your suppliers, your fans, people who may not even be customers, the ability for you to even have a privilege of a platform. Now we can start to get to work. We can partner with other Black businesses, with other non-Black businesses to make a change, to change the narrative, to put out messages in the world that most people may not care or want to hear about, or for the mainstream platforms don't make any money. It really is that silver bullet to changing the way that we as Black people are perceived. So I really don't see a different way to change the course of how things have been going over the last decade, century, thousands of years, generation, um, whatever you may. When you're in business, you have a voice, and you're showing. You get to show up every day, not for yourself, but people who look like you. And so, Black businesses matter because there's really no other. It's really one of the strongest ways that you can make a difference for your community.
I mean, every time I ask that question, I get chills in my body, literally. I mean, I say that all the time because it is so true. And so I'm grateful when I get the response because it just helps us to understand the impact of making sure that Black businesses have a voice and we're able to do that. The one thing that we're asking in this particular season is what self care technique brings you joy?
I would say for me, I think it's two things. It's it's obviously the obvious, the one which one's very important, which is exercise. Just taking a moment to take care of yourself. Exercise also, like we talk about style, it transforms the way that you look if you're exercising. Whatever you want to do with your body, you can almost accomplish with exercise, and it's really good for the mind. That's why they talk about that runner's high. So exercise is whenever I'm feeling down in the dumps, or I feel like, because business is tough, I feel like, man, can I really do this? Can I pull through? I go for a run, I work out, and as soon as I run that mile, 2 miles, whatever I decide to do that day, I start feeling like I'm on top of the world. I can like, what y'all got for me, world? I'm ready for it. So that's my first go-to for wellness. And then the second thing is something that I don't think we talk about enough is conversation. First, that conversation with self, having a conversation with ourselves and being honest with ourselves, right? How do we prioritize ourselves? Because a lot of times we get caught up in this mindset of giving to other people. And I'm not talking about giving gifts of money, giving our time, giving our trust, giving our effort. What is the priority right now? How are you? Ask yourself, how are you feeling? So whenever I'm feeling overwhelmed, I try to figure out what I really need. And a lot of times I find out that it's peace of mind, simple things, quiet, sleep, a night out with my closest friends just to check up and maybe tell them about things I'm struggling with. So I don't think that I've um and not just myself, myself and a lot of my friends and I do a good job of taking the time out for self and just figuring out what self really needs. And once we take care of ourselves, like I said in the beginning, then we can take care of everyone else. So let's take a moment to meditate, to have a moment of stillness and really figure out what our souls really need. And once we get that answer, nothing else is a priority. Because if you don't have your health, you don't have anything.
So I just love that I love that you said conversation. So I believe that conversation with self and other people. I do think that we don't give a lot of love. I'm so glad you brought that. As someone who likes to talk, and that's just what I love to do. And I thought it was a bad thing, but I find that it is something that helps me process things. So I love that you say that. So as this incredible visionary, creative designer, lifestyle expert, style maven. I'm giving you all these names because that is what you are.
I'm receiving it. Thank you so much. I told you everywhere I'm going, you're coming with me. I need this. I need this pep talk.
So for all that, what brings you joy?
Wow, that's a loaded question. First and foremost, my family. My family brings me joy. Just knowing that regardless of how my day goes, if I had a rough day, if, the business is where I want it to be, or I'm accomplishing the goals that I want to accomplish, knowing that I have people at my home who love me unconditionally, my wife and my kids, just going in there, walking through those doors. My son, my 2-year-old Miles, he's going to run through whatever. He's going to hop over the couch, hop over all his toys, and he's going to come give me a big hug. I'm going to get a kiss from my wife. Like, so my family's everything. And I feel a huge sense of responsibility to make sure that they're good, they're taken care of, and I can do my best to give them a reasonable standard of life. And also with that is just seeing other people win really, really brings me joy. Like, people have it hard, and if I can just sit on the phone with someone for 30 minutes, for an hour, make the time to go to happy hour with my friends or talk to an employee who's having a rough time, if I can give another person just an ounce of inspiration to not just get through their day, but hey, you can do this. You got this. You can be better. Okay, you want to do this. You're working here right now. You want to start your own business right now. Okay, every once a week, you and I are going to sit down and we're going to talk about your self improvement tips or whatever. People need inspiration. So every time I'm able to help someone else win, I feel like that's the true wealth right there. Like, I feel like I've just served my purpose, because you can only do so much with money. There's only so many things that you could buy. You can't take that stuff with you. So family and seeing other people's win, that's it for me.
And I mean, that's powerful. But it's powerful. I mean, this has just been a joy. I do want you to share with our listeners, because as you really, just shared with us today, it was such an inspiration. But tell people what your name means, because we left that part out because you told me before we got on. And I'm just like, you represent all of that. So I need the world to know the origin of your name.
So I'll have you know, first of all, that I had a lot of furious moments with my mom coming home from school. Like, why'd you name me this? Why'd you name me this? Because my name has been butchered and battered every first day of school, roll call, coach practice. People can't say my name. And I'm looking at my mom like, why'd you do this to me? And so my name, Olufola Yinka, in Yoruba means God has surrounded me with blessings. And so as I've grown up and I've learned more about my culture, more about our history as a people, as Black people, I've learned to embrace everything about my name and know that it means something that I stand on and I could, you know, uh, live my life through. So, yeah, that's it. God has surrounded me with blessings.
Guys, that just sums it up. I'm just going to recap really quick because I want you all to get to know this incredible brand. And you got a chance to hear from the visionary. You can learn about them at www.s-gents. So that's GENTS.com. They are on all platforms, of course, Instagram, because that's the new hot one. I tell everybody that's the hot one, but they are there as at S as in Sam _gents. Take a look, make them one of your favorite Instagram. When I say hackers, I mean like you're hacking for good stuff, right? You're not hacking to tear them down, but allow yourself to be able to just go through their profile and just be inspired, because it is definitely inspirational. And I just want to thank you for being a guest of Black Businesses Matter. It was such a joy to have you. Truly, it has been a joy. I am over here, just so you know, I'm over here super excited because I was stalking you for quite some time. And for us to have you, it just brings me joy right now. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super honored and privileged. You guys have an amazing platform. And for all the Black businesses out there, keep striving, keep leading by example, and let's keep showing the world what Black excellence is really about.
Yes, there you have it, guys. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Black Businesses Matter. We'll see you soon. Hey, BBM listeners, the team at Southern Gents is extending an exclusive offer to all listeners. Visit s-gents, that's GENTS.com, and use code Black Businesses Matter at checkout and receive 10% off. This offer is valid until October 31st, so shop responsibly. Thanks for tuning in.
The Black Businesses Matter podcast is produced by the L3 Agency, a culturally sensitive influencer, marketing, and communications firm in Chicago, where relationships are our currency, passion is our profit maker, and people are our bottom line. Follow us on Instagram at Black Businesses Matter.